Good day everyone, my name is Tutor Dan and I'm your tutor for today. Please do well to subscribe and follow us across all social media pages at Goddam School of Mathematics. In today's class, we're looking at the topic algebraic expression. Now, an algebraic expression is a mathematical statement containing one term or more than one term connected together by an operator. So if you have a single term, say x for example, or we have a single term, say 5 for example, x as a single term can be called an algebraic expression. 5 as a single term can be termed as an algebraic expression. However, we can also have more than one term, right, to be an algebraic expression, but these terms has to be connected by an operator. So if I have, for example, x and 5 as an algebraic expression, these two together can now be called an algebraic expression when both of them are connected together by an operator, right? Say plus, for example, right? So we now have x plus 5 now is now an algebraic expression which contains two terms but then connected by the operator plus. So we then look at what a term is and what an operator is. Now, a term is the single part of an algebraic expression. Just as we have in this example, x plus 5. X plus 5 contains two terms, right? The single part of this expression is x, right? The operator is plus. Then we have another single part, 5. So we say that this expression has two terms. So if I have 3y minus 5 plus 3. Now if you look at this, these are the operators that connected these three terms together. So it means that this algebraic expression has three terms: 3y, 5, and 3. Now what does that mean? It simply means that a term can be a single number that is a constant, just as we have here. 3 is a constant, right? It's a single constant and it is also called a term. So a term could be a single constant, could be a single variable, just as we have here, x, right? And then it could also be the combination of a variable and a constant, just as we have 3y. So we have 3, which is a constant, and y, which is a variable. So a term could be a single number that is a constant, or a single variable, or the combination of a constant and a variable. Now, what is a variable? In mathematics, a variable is a symbol or a letter of the English alphabet that is used to represent an unknown number or an unknown quantity. So if the number or the quantity of a thing is not known in mathematics, we represent that unknown number with a variable, with a letter that is called a variable, right? Just as we have now. If you look at 3y, we can only know the exact quantity or the exact number of this if we can find the value of y. So which means the value of y in this term is unknown. So which means we represent that unknown with the alphabet y. The most common variable in mathematics is x. However, there are other variables in mathematics. Every letter of the English alphabet are called variable. So when you use the English alphabet to represent an unknown in mathematics, it is called a variable, right? And then we said that a term could be a single number, which is a constant, a single variable, right? Or the combination of a constant, that is a number, and a variable. Now, what is an operator? An operator is any symbol that indicates that an operation is to be carried out. For example, we have the plus symbol. This indicates that an addition is to be carried out, right? we have the minus symbol. This indicates that a subtraction is to be carried out, right? We also have the root symbol. This indicates that a root is to be carried out. We have the exponent symbol, which indicates that an exponent or an indices, right, is to be carried out. And we also have the times symbol, which indicates that a multiplication is to be carried out. We have also the divide symbol, which indicates that a division is to be carried out, and so on and so forth. So in mathematics, an operator is called, is a symbol rather. An operator is a symbol that indicates that an operation is to be carried out. So an algebraic expression is a mathematical statement, right, that contains either a single term or more than one term connected together by an operator. Now look at variables and coefficients of an algebraic expression. Like I said earlier, variables are symbols or letters of the English alphabet, of course, that is used to represent an unknown number or an unknown quantity. For example, X is a variable, right? A is a variable, B is a variable, Y is a variable, even Z is a variable. In fact, the English alphabet O is also a variable. Now, the coefficient of a variable or group of variables is the number and the symbol or the operator, the number and operator that is attached to a variable, the number and the sign. You see, if you are asked to find the coefficient of any variable or a group of variable, right, a group of variables, now you must take note of the sign that is attached to the number. The coefficient of that variable is not just the number alone, right? The coefficient of the variable is both the number and the sign. Now, if the sign attached to that constant or the number is positive, you won't have an issue, you won't have a problem, right? It's still the same. It's the number. However, if the sign or the operator attached to the variable or the number is negative, then there is a problem. So you must take note of the sign attached to it. So generally to say that the coefficient of a variable or a group of variables is both the number and the sign that is attached to a variable. For example, if I have 3x, for example, the coefficient of the variable x is plus 3, right? We know that the operator here is positive. However, because it is positive, it's not necessary to write it, because even if you leave it like this, it also still means positive 3. However, if I have minus 4y, for example, the coefficient of y will not be 4, but the coefficient of y will be both the sign and the number, which is minus 4. So if you are asked to find the coefficient of y in minus 4y, the coefficient of y is going to be minus 4 minus 4. So if I have, for example, 3x squared minus 4xy, right? Now, if you look at this, we have the group of variable x squared. Now, this x squared is made up of two variables, x and x. So it's a group of variables. We also have the group of variable xy. So we have x and y, which makes up the group of this variable. So now, if you are asked to find the coefficient of any of these groups of variables, for example, x squared, the coefficient of x squared is equal to 3, while the coefficient of xy is equal to minus 4, right? The coefficient of xy is what? Minus 4. That is the number and the sign attached. So if you look at this, this is a term plus 3x squared. This is another term minus 4xy. Now, the sign for x squared is positive and that's why we left it at 3, because 3 also means positive 3. However, 4 does not mean negative 4. So you have to write both the number and the operator. So for xy, the coefficient of xy is minus 4. If I have minus x squared minus x, for example. Now, if you look at this, if we're asked to find the coefficient of x squared and the coefficient of x, now take note. If I have 1 apple plus 1 apple, this gives me 2 apples, right? Now, in similar way, if I have 1a plus 1a, that will give me 2a's. Is that so? However, we know that this is still the same thing as 2 times a, which gives us 2a. And the same thing we have here, 1a is also the same thing as 1 times a. And of course, in mathematics, when you multiply anything by the identity by 1, right, it gives you that thing back. So if I have 2 and I'm multiplying 2 by 1, it gives me 2. If I have 5 and I'm multiplying 5 by 1, it gives me 5. So if I have biscuits and I'm multiplying biscuits by 1, it gives me biscuits back. If I have a and I'm multiplying a by 1, it gives me a back. So which means that 1 times a is the same thing as 1a is the same thing as a, because when I multiply 1 by a, it gives me a back. However, if you are then asked to find the coefficient of a, you should know that the coefficient of a is 1, because the number that is attached to a or that multiplies a is 1. So which means the coefficient of a in a is what? 1. The same thing here, we know that the coefficient of our x squared, there is a number, the number that multiplied x squared is 1. Because if you multiply anything by 1, it gives you that thing back. So which means x squared had been multiplied by 1 for us to get x squared. X had also been multiplied by 1 to get x. So if you are asked to find the coefficient of x squared, you should know that the coefficient of x squared is what? Of course, both the number and the sign. So the sign is minus and then the number is 1. As well as x, also the number that multiplies x is 1, because x times 1 will give us is what gives us x, right? But then the sign attached to it is also minus, and that gives us minus 1.